The most dangerous enemy you will ever face is not outside of you. It is not the people who doubt you. It is not the system. It is not your circumstances. It is the voice in your own mind. The voice that whispers, you can't. The voice that says, you're not enough. The voice that reminds you of every failure, every mistake, every moment you fell short. That voice has destroyed more dreams than poverty ever could, more futures than fear ever could, more destinies than any enemy ever could. Because when your mind turns against you, your hands stop building, your feet stop moving, your faith starts dying. If you do not kill your negative thinking, it will kill everything God put inside you. Every great battle begins in the mind. Before you ever win in life, you must first win in your head, because success is not built by talented people alone. It is built by disciplined thinkers, by people who refuse to let dark thoughts become permanent beliefs. Pain will visit your life. Failure will knock on your door. Disappointment will break your heart. But what destroys most people is not what happened to them. It is what they keep telling themselves about what happened. Today is the day you stop feeding the poison. Today is the day you declare war on every thought that has kept you small. Negative thoughts are dangerous not because they scream, but because they whisper. They do not arrive in your mind looking like destruction. They arrive sounding reasonable, sounding logical, sounding cautious. They do not say, I am here to ruin your future. They say, be careful, don't get your hopes up. Maybe you're not ready. Maybe this just isn't for you. That is why so many people never recognize the poison, because poison does not always taste bitter. Sometimes it tastes like common sense. Negative thinking is self-sabotage disguised as wisdom. It convinces gifted people to play small. It convinces talented people to stay hidden. It convinces dreamers to shrink their dreams until they fit inside their fear. There are people walking around right now with greatness inside of them, EDs inside of them, vision inside of them, power inside of them, and none of it is being used, not because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, not because they lack intelligence, but because their own mind has become the enemy. They have accepted internal defeat before life ever gave them external defeat. That is what negative thinking does. It talks you out of your future before your future even has a chance to arrive. It makes you believe that fear is intuition. It makes you believe insecurity is humility. It makes you believe self-doubt is maturity. No, that is not humility. That is not wisdom. That is not realism. That is fear wearing wisdom's clothing. Fear has learned how to sound intelligent. Fear has learned how to disguise itself as responsibility. Fear has learned how to make quitting sound mature. It says, maybe you shouldn't start that business. The market is too competitive. Maybe you shouldn't apply. They probably want someone better. Maybe you shouldn't speak up. You might embarrass yourself. Maybe you shouldn't love again. You might get hurt. And because it sounds careful, because it sounds rational, because it sounds practical, you listen, you obey, and slowly, without realizing it, you begin building a life around avoidance instead of purpose. You start choosing comfort over calling, safety over growth, predictability over possibility. And one day you wake up in a life you settled for instead of the life you were created for. That is the cost of negative thinking. It does not destroy you in one dramatic moment. It destroys you quietly, gradually, decision by decision, excuse by excuse, fear by fear. It kills ambition softly. It murders confidence silently. It buries destiny under layers of hesitation. Listen to me carefully. Your greatest limitation may not be your circumstances. It may be the story you keep telling yourself about your circumstances. Some people are not trapped by reality. They are trapped by perception. They lost once and now believe they will always lose. They were rejected once and now believe they are unworthy. They failed once and now believe failure defines them. But one moment does not define a lifetime. One setback does not determine destiny. One painful chapter does not mean the whole story is tragic. Yet negative thinking takes temporary pain and turns it into permanent identity. It says you failed becomes you are a failure. You were rejected becomes you are unlovable. You struggled becomes you are weak. Do you see the lie? Negative thinking does not just describe events, it rewrites identity. And once a person believes the wrong thing about themselves, they start living beneath who they are. They stop trying, stop risking, stop hoping, stop believing. Not because they cannot win, but because they no longer believe they deserve to. That is the prison of the mind. And the tragedy of that prison is that the door is often unlocked, but people stay trapped because they believe the lies their thoughts have repeated for years. Your mind can become a prison, and the bars are built from your own beliefs. Beliefs like, I'm too late, I'm too broken, I'm not talented enough, I'll never change, this is just who I am. Those are not facts, those are mental chains. And chains do not have to be physical to keep you captive. Some of the strongest looking people in the world are mentally imprisoned. They smile in public but doubt themselves in private. They function outwardly, but inwardly they are at war. Every dream they have gets attacked by their own thoughts before anyone else can attack it. That is why you must become ruthless about what you allow in your mind. Every thought is not worthy of agreement. Just because a thought enters your head does not mean it belongs there. Just because your mind says it does not mean your spirit should accept it. Thoughts must be challenged. Thoughts must be tested. Thoughts must be interrogated. Ask yourself, this thought helping me grow? Is this thought rooted in truth? Is this thought pushing me toward purpose or pulling me toward fear? Because if a thought weakens your faith, kills your confidence, destroys your hope, and paralyzes your action, it is not wisdom, it is sabotage. And sabotage from within is more dangerous than opposition from without. Because when the enemy is outside you, you can fight it. But when the enemy is inside your own mind, you carry it everywhere. You can leave toxic people, you can leave toxic environments. But if your thinking is toxic, you take the poison with you wherever you go. New city, same mindset, new opportunity, same fear, new relationship, same insecurity, new year, same self-sabotage. Because until the mind changes, nothing truly changes. You do not need to believe every thought you think. You do not need to bow to every insecurity you feel. You do not need to let every fear become your master. You can challenge the lie. You can reject the poison. You can refuse agreement with thoughts that diminish who you are. The strongest people are not those who never hear negative thoughts. They are those who refuse to let negative thoughts become their identity. So the next time your mind says, you can't do it, answer back. The next time your fear says, you're not enough, answer back. The next time insecurity whispers, you will fail again, answer back. Because silence in the face of lies becomes agreement, and agreement becomes belief. Belief becomes behavior. Behavior becomes destiny. Stop agreeing with every dark thought that enters your head. You are not required to bow to every lie your mind produces. You are not obligated to make a home inside your worst thoughts. You have the power to reject what does not serve your purpose. Remember this, just because you think it does not make it true. Just because you feel fear does not mean danger is present. Just because doubt speaks loudly does not mean doubt is right. Your thoughts are not always truth. Sometimes they are wounds talking. Sometimes they are trauma talking. Sometimes they are insecurity talking. Sometimes they are fear talking. Learn the difference. Because the moment you stop treating every negative thought like truth is the moment you begin taking your power back. Your mind is always listening, even when nobody else is, even when you are joking, even when you say it casually, even when you whisper it under your breath and pretend it means nothing. Your mind hears every word, and over time it begins to believe what you repeat. That is why the conversation you have with yourself matters more than most people understand. Because the words you speak internally do not stay words for long. They become beliefs. Beliefs become habits. Habits become actions. Acts become identity. Ride that again in your spirit. What you repeatedly tell yourself eventually becomes who you think you are. If every day you say, I'm broken, your mind stops seeing pain as temporary and starts seeing brokenness as permanent. If every day you say, I always fail, your mind stops viewing setbacks as lessons and starts expecting defeat before you even begin. If every day you say, nothing works for me, you train yourself to notice every disappointment and ignore every possibility. That is how people become prisoners without chains, because the prison is not outside of them. It is in the language they repeat to themselves every day. Your spirit starts living under the sentence you keep speaking over your life, and many people are living under life sentences they gave themselves. Sentences like, I'm not smart enough, I'm not attractive enough, I'm too damaged, I'll never be successful, I'll always struggle, this is just how my life is. Be careful what you repeat because repetition is programming. What you say once may be a thought, what you say often becomes belief, what you believe deeply becomes reality in your behavior. You may not even realize it is happening. That is what makes it dangerous. The human mind adapts to repeated messages. It builds identity around consistency. If you constantly repeat weakness, your mind accepts weakness as your nature. If you constantly repeat failure, your mind accepts failure as your destiny. If you constantly repeat fear, your nervous system begins living in fear, even when there is no threat present. Some people are not suffering because life destroyed them. They are suffering because they have rehearsed defeat for so long that defeat feels natural now. Listen carefully. You cannot speak defeat over your life and expect victory to grow. Victory cannot grow in soil poisoned by self-hatred. Confidence cannot grow in a mind flooded with self-condemnation. Faith cannot grow where fear is watered every day. You cannot plant negativity and expect positivity to bloom. You cannot water weeds and pray for flowers. That is not how growth works. Yet many people do this every day. They pray for success while speaking failure. They ask for peace while feeding anxiety. They want confidence while constantly insulting themselves. They desire transformation but repeat the same destructive internal dialogue that built their misery in the first place. Know if you want your life to change, your language must change, because transformation begins with the words you allow to live in your mind. Words matter. Words shape perception. Words shape expectation. Words shape identity. The language you use creates the lens through which you see yourself. A person who constantly says, "I'm not enough," will walk into every room already defeated. A person who constantly says, "I can learn, I can improve, I can grow," will walk into challenge differently. Same world, different mindset, different result. Because the internal script determines the external performance. Your thoughts matter. Not every thought is harmless. Some thoughts become habits. Some thoughts become emotional patterns. Some thoughts become the soundtrack of your entire existence. If the soundtrack in your head is always criticism, you will struggle to live boldly. If the soundtrack in your head is always shame, you will struggle to love yourself. If the soundtrack in your head is always fear, you will struggle to take risks. And if the soundtrack in your head is always defeat, you will quit before your potential is tested. Repetition matters. What you rehearse, reinforce. Athletes know this, musicians know this. Champions know this. What you practice repeatedly gets stronger. And that truth applies to your mindset too. If you practice insecurity every day, insecurity grows stronger. If you practice gratitude every day, gratitude grows stronger. If you practice fear every day, fear grows stronger. If you practice courage every day, courage grows stronger. Whatever you rehearse mentally becomes easier emotionally. That is why discipline in thought is as important as discipline in action. You must become intentional about what you feed your mind. Feed your mind strength, not fantasy, not arrogance, strength. Remind yourself, I have survived difficult seasons before. I can handle pressure. I am capable of growth. I can learn what I do not yet know. I can rise again. Feed your mind truth, not empty affirmations detached from reality. Truth that says your failures are not your identity. Truth that says your mistakes are not your worth. Truth that says your past is not your future. Truth that says pain can shape you without defining you. Feed your mind discipline, because positive thinking alone is not enough. You need disciplined thinking. Thinking that rejects lies. Thinking that challenges distortion. Thinking that interrupts mental spirals. Thinking that says, no, this thought is not helping me become who I need to be. Discipline means refusing mental laziness. It is easy to let your mind wander into darkness. It is easy to assume the worst. It is easy to indulge in self-pity. It is easy to replay every mistake. But disciplined people do not let every thought stay. They monitor their inner world. They filter what enters. They confront what weakens them, because they understand this truth. The person you become is shaped by the conversation you have with yourself when nobody is listening. Not when the cameras are on. Not when the crowd is cheering. Not when people are praising you. When you are alone, when you are tired, when you are doubting, when you failed. When nobody is clapping, that is when identity is formed. The private conversation creates the public person. If in private you destroy yourself, public confidence will always be fragile. If in private you strengthen yourself, public pressure becomes easier to handle. That is why mental mastery is not about pretending life is perfect. It is about learning to speak to yourself in a way that produces resilience instead of ruin. You do not need to lie to yourself. You do not need fake positivity. You need powerful truth. But I'm broken with, I'm healing. Replace, I always fail with, I am learning. Replace, nothing works for me with, I have not found my breakthrough yet. Replace, I can't do this with. This will challenge me, but I will grow through it. That is not delusion. That is mental leadership. Lead your mind or your mind will lead you. And if you do not control the voice in your head, that voice will control the direction of your life. So guard your words. Guard your thoughts, guard your repetitions, because every day you are teaching your mind who you are. Teach it strength, teach it discipline, teach it resilience, teach it faith, because your mind believes what you repeat, and if you repeat power long enough, one day you will start living like it is true. Most people do not fail because they lack talent. They fail because they stay trapped in their own minds. They think and think and think again. They analyze every possibility, replay every worst-case scenario. Imagine every way things could go wrong. Question every decision before it is made. Doubt every move before it is taken. And while they are stuck in thought, life keeps moving. Opportunities pass, doors close, time disappears, and potential dies in the waiting. Most people think too much and do too little. They have dreams but no movement, plans but no execution, desire but no discipline, because they keep waiting for the perfect emotional condition before they begin. They wait until they feel confident. They wait until motivation arrives. They wait until fear disappears. They wait until self-doubt fades. They wait until the timing feels right, and for many people, that day never comes. Listen carefully. Confidence is not a prerequisite for action. Action is what creates confidence. Nobody begins fearless. Nobody starts certain. Nobody walks into greatness fully prepared. The people you admire, they were scared too. They doubted too. They questioned themselves too. The difference is, they moved anyway. That is the separation. Successful people are not always more talented. They are not always smarter. They are not always more gifted often. They are simply more willing to act while uncertain. Because they understand a truth that overthinkers struggle to accept. Fear may never fully go away. Listen carefully. It may never go away. That fear in your chest before the leap, that anxiety before the risk, that uncertainty before the new beginning, it may stay with you, not because you are weak, not because you are unprepared, but because growth is uncomfortable by nature. New levels feel unfamiliar. Responsibility feels heavy. Risk feels dangerous. You may never reach a point where challenge stops feeling intimidating, so if you wait until fear leaves, you may wait forever. The answer is not to wait for courage. The answer is to move while afraid. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is action in spite of fear. Strength is not never shaking. Strength is moving while your hands shake. Faith is not certainty. Faith is obedience in uncertainty. You do not need to feel ready to begin. You need to begin so readiness can develop, because readiness is built in motion. Clarity is built in motion. Confidence is built in motion, not in thought, not in theory, not in endless preparation, in motion. Action silences thoughts. There are some doubts you will never think your way out of. There are fears that cannot be solved intellectually. There are insecurities that do not disappear through reflection alone. Sometimes the only way to quiet the mind is to move the body, take the step, make the call, start the business, leave for the position, route the first page, go to the gym, have the hard conversation. Do something because action interrupts anxiety. When you act, you shift from imagination to reality, and reality is often less terrifying than the scenarios your mind invented. Overthinking magnifies danger. Action reveals truth. Your mind says, what if I fail? Action says, let's find out. Your mind says, what if I embarrass myself? Action says, then I'll survive and learn. Your mind says, what if I'm not enough? Action says, I will improve by doing. Discipline quiets chaos. Discipline is the bridge between intention and transformation. Without discipline, your emotions control your behavior. And if your emotions control your behavior, your life will always be unstable. Because emotions change daily. Some days you feel inspired. Some days you feel drained. Some days you feel powerful. Some days you feel broken. If you only move when you feel motivated, you will live inconsistently. Motivation is unreliable. Discipline is dependable. Discipline says, I do not care how I feel today. The work still gets done. Discipline says, my emotions are welcome, but they do not lead. Discipline says, fear can ride in the car, but it does not touch the steering wheel. That is power, because mature people do not let temporary emotion control permanent decisions. Momentum destroys mental paralysis. The hardest part of progress is often the beginning, not because the task is impossible, but because your mind has made it bigger than it is. Overthinking creates mountains out of moments. It turns small actions into terrifying events. But the moment you begin, momentum starts working for you. The first workout leads to the second. The first video leads to the next. The first sale leads to confidence. The first risk leads to resilience. Motion creates momentum. Momentum creates belief. Belief creates identity, and identity changes everything. Every time you do what you said you would do, you strengthen self-trust. Every time you keep your promise to yourself, you build internal respect. Every time you act despite fear, you train your mind to stop worshiping discomfort. Get up, not tomorrow, not when it feels easier, not when the stars align. Get up now, work anyway, work tired, work uncertain, work imperfectly, work while doubting. Because progress does not require perfection, it requires persistence. Build anyway, build while nobody notices, build while others laugh, build while results are slow, build while confidence is low. Because great things are often built long before they are believed in. Fight anyway. Fight for your future. Fight for your discipline. Fight for your dreams. Fight for the version of yourself that your fear keeps trying to suppress. Because every time you keep moving despite doubt, you prove to your mind that fear is not in control, that matters more than you know. Every disciplined action rewires your self-image. Every time you obey purpose over panic, you become stronger. Every time you choose action over avoidance, you become bolder. Every time you move despite fear, you teach your nervous system that discomfort is survivable, and eventually, what once terrified you becomes normal. That is how growth works. The things that scare you today become the things you handle routinely tomorrow if you keep showing up. But only if you keep showing up, not once, repeatedly. Discipline is not one brave moment. It is repeated obedience to what matters even when your feelings disagree. You do not need to conquer fear forever today. You only need to obey purpose today, then tomorrow. Do it again, then again, then again. And one day you will look back at the version of yourself who was once paralyzed by overthinking and realize something powerful. The fear did not disappear first. You moved first. And because you moved, fear lost its authority. Discipline defeated overthinking not by eliminating uncertainty, but by refusing to bow to it. Some of the darkest thoughts in your mind were not born from weakness. They were born from wounds. They came from pain. Real pain, deep pain. Pain that changed you. Pain from betrayal. Pain from being abandoned when you needed someone most. Pain from trusting the wrong person. Pain from giving your heart and watching it get broken. Pain from believing in people who let you down. Pain from being rejected by places you prayed would accept you. Pain from failing at something you gave everything to. Pain from trying your hardest and still watching life fall apart in your hands. Some wounds leave scars no one can see. You smile, you function, you show up, you keep moving. But inside, parts of you still flinch when life looks familiar to what once hurt you. And because pain taught you harsh lessons, your mind became defensive. It started trying to protect you. It whispers, don't trust too much, don't hope too much, don't expect too much, don't love too deeply, don't dream too big. Why? Because somewhere in your past, hope hurt, trust hurt, faith hurt, risk hurt. So now your mind believes if it expects the worst, it can avoid being broken again. But hear this clearly. Pain may explain your fear. It does not make your fear correct. And one of the greatest tragedies in life is when wounded people begin treating pain like prophecy. They assume because something hurt them once, it will hurt them every time. They assume because one person betrayed them, everyone will betray them. Because one opportunity failed, every opportunity will fail. Because one season was painful, every season will be painful. No, pain is not prophecy. Pain is an experience, not a prediction. Pain is a chapter, not the whole book. Pain is a moment in your story, not the author of your future. Just because it happened before does not mean it will happen again. Ride that in your spirit. Repeat it until your wounds hear it. Just because it happened before does not mean it will happen again. Yes, you were hurt. Yes, you were disappointed. Yes, life knocked you down. Yes, some people broke promises they should have kept. But your past pain does not have the authority to define your future possibilities. Do not let old pain make new decisions for you. Do not let yesterday's betrayal poison today's relationships. Do not let one failure convince you to stop trying. Do not let one heartbreak teach you to close your heart forever. Do not let one painful chapter make you believe the story is over. Your past may explain your fear, but it does not excuse your surrender. That line matters. Because many people use their wounds as permission to quit. They say, I've been through too much. I've been hurt too many times. I'm tired of trying. I don't have it in me anymore. And while their pain is real, pain cannot become your permanent excuse for abandoning your purpose. Your wounds deserve healing, but they do not deserve control. Healing means acknowledging the pain without giving it the steering wheel. Healing means saying, yes, this hurt me, but it will not own me. Yes, I was broken, but I am rebuilding. Yes, I was wounded, but I am not finished. Because if you let pain dictate your future, then the people and moments that hurt you continue controlling your life long after they are gone. Think about that. If betrayal makes you trust no one, they still control you. If rejection makes you stop trying, they still control you. If failure makes you quit your dream, it still controls you. If heartbreak makes you shut down forever, it still controls you. Do not give your pain that much power. You survived hard days before. Do not forget that. You have already lived through things you once thought would destroy you. There were nights you cried in silence and thought you would never recover. There were mornings you woke up heavy and wondered how you would make it through the day. There were seasons where your faith was shaking, your heart was tired, and your soul was exhausted. And yet you are still here. Still breathing, still standing, still fighting. Broken maybe, scared maybe, tired maybe, but still here. That means something. That means you are stronger than the pain that tried to bury you. That means your resilience has already been proven. That means your survival is evidence of strength. You got through nights you thought would break you. Do not forget who you became in survival. Do not forget how much strength was forged in your suffering. Pain did not just wound you. It built endurance in you. It built wisdom in you. It built discernment in you. It built grit in you. It built spiritual muscle in you. You may carry scars now, but scars are proof that what wounded you did not kill you. And scars can become reminders of resilience instead of ruin. The strongest people in the world are not those who avoided pain. They are those who went through pain and refused to let it turn them bitter. They refused to let suffering destroy their faith. They refused to let betrayal destroy their ability to love. They refuse to let failure destroy their willingness to try again. That is strength. Not pretending pain did not hurt, not denying the wound, but feeling the pain fully and still choosing not to surrender. That is courage. There is a version of you on the other side of healing who is wiser, stronger, calmer, sharper, deeper. But you will never meet that version if you let pain convince you to stop. Pain can refine you or define you. That choice is yours. It can make you wiser or make you fearful. It can make you stronger or make you smaller. It can teach you or trap you. But do not confuse being hurt with being defeated. They are not the same. Being wounded does not mean you lost. Being hurt does not mean your future is ruined. Being broken in one season does not mean you are permanently broken. The pain was real, but so is your ability to rise. So stop assuming the worst because life hurt you before. Stop preparing for disaster as if disappointment is destiny. Stop expecting every chapter to look like your darkest one. That season was hard, but it was a season, not your whole life. Do not let yesterday's pain write tomorrow's story. Do not let your trauma narrate your future. Do not let old wounds choose your next move. You have suffered enough. You do not need to suffer twice by reliving pain that is no longer happening. Release the prophecy of pain. Release the expectation of disappointment. Release the lie that because it hurt before, it must hurt again. No, a new day deserves a new mindset. A new opportunity deserves new faith. A new season deserves new courage. Pain visited your life, but it does not own your future. You survived it, you learned from it, you carry the scars of it, but you do not have to live beneath it. Stand up, heal forward, trust again wisely, hope again bravely, pray again boldly. Because pain may have shaped you, but it does not get to decide who you become next. You must protect your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. Everything in your life flows through your mind first. Before you speak, it passes through your mind. Before you act, it passes through your mind. Before you choose, it passes through your mind. Before you build, believe, love, trust, fight, lead, create, endure, or rise, it passes through your mind. That means if your mind is poisoned, everything flowing out of it becomes contaminated. A damaged mindset can sabotage a gifted life. A polluted inner world can destroy a promising future. A chaotic mind can make a blessed life feel miserable. This is why protecting your mind is not optional, it is survival. Most people guard their money more than their mindset. They guard their phones more than their peace. They guard their reputation more than their mental environment. But your mind is the control center of your life. And if the control center is compromised, everything else suffers. Guard what enters your mind. Not everything deserves access to your thoughts. Not every voice deserves influence. Not every opinion deserves attention. Not every environment deserves your presence. Because what repeatedly enters your mind eventually shapes your internal world. What you consume consistently, you begin to become unconsciously. If all day you consume negativity, negativity becomes your default lens. If all day you consume outrage, you become emotionally reactive. If all day you consume gossip, your thoughts become petty. If all day you consume fear, your nervous system learns anxiety. If all day you consume hopelessness, hope begins to die quietly inside you. Some people stay negative because negativity is all they consume. They wake up to bad news, scrub them through drama, watch people complain, listen to doubters, spend time with cynics, absorb stress from everyone around them, then wonder why their mind feels heavy. You cannot feed your mind garbage and expect clarity. You cannot fill your spirit with chaos and expect peace. You cannot consume poison all day and expect healthy thinking at night. Cows in, cows out. That principle is undefeated. Whatever enters your mind repeatedly will influence how you think, how you feel, how you respond, and eventually, how you live. Guard who speaks into your life because voices matter. Some people are carrying internal battles because they keep giving access to people who constantly speak limitation over them. People who mock their ambition, people who question every dream, people who highlight every flaw, people who project their fear onto your future, people who call your discipline too much, people who call your standards unrealistic, people who call your faith naive. Be careful who you allow near your spirit. Not everyone close to you is healthy for you. Not everyone familiar is beneficial. Some people drain belief from you. Some people normalize mediocrity. Some people feed insecurity. Some people keep you mentally small because your growth reminds them of their stagnation. Protect your circle. Protect your environment. Protect your atmosphere. Because if you surround yourself with doubt, you will think doubt. Human beings absorb environment. Spend enough time around fear, you start fearing. Spend enough time around laziness, you start compromising. Spend enough time around negativity, you start expecting the worst. Spend enough time around excuses, you start justifying your own weakness. Environment shapes expectation, and expectation shapes behavior. If you surround yourself with weakness, you will act weak. If everybody around you quits when life gets hard, quitting starts feeling normal. If everybody around you complains constantly, complaining starts feeling natural. If everybody around you settles for less, settling starts feeling acceptable. That is why growth sometimes requires distance, not because you hate people, not because you think you are better, but because you understand that your future is too valuable to be shaped by environments that keep your mind in survival mode. Guard what you watch. Visual input matters. What you stare at daily trains your focus. If your eyes are always on chaos, your mind stays in chaos. If your attention is constantly fragmented, your thoughts become fragmented. If your habits are built around endless distraction, your focus weakens. And in a distracted world, focus is power. Guard what you listen to. Words shape atmosphere. Music, conversations, podcasts, voices, noise, all of it affects you. You become what you repeatedly hear. If every voice around you says life is hopeless, hope becomes harder to maintain. If every voice around you says you will fail, confidence becomes harder to sustain. If every voice around you is cynical, faith becomes harder to protect. That is why intentional people curate their environment. They choose carefully what enters their ears, what enters their eyes, what enters their spirit, not because they are fragile, because they are disciplined. Protect your peace. Peace is expensive. Do not give it away cheaply. Some people disturb your peace. Every time they enter your life, every conversation becomes drama. Every interaction becomes tension. Every moment becomes emotional chaos. And many people keep entertaining disturbance because they fear disappointing others. No, peace is not selfish. Peace is necessary. You do not owe unlimited access to anyone who repeatedly disrupts your mental stability. Protect your focus. Your goals require concentration. Your calling requires attention. Your growth requires consistency. And distraction is one of the enemy's greatest tools. Because if your focus can be broken constantly, your progress will be broken constantly. Guard your attention like it is currency, because it is where your attention goes, your life follows. Protect your faith, because in difficult seasons, faith is what keeps you standing when logic cannot explain the process. Faith is what keeps you moving when results are delayed. Faith is what keeps you disciplined when emotions collapse. Faith is what keeps you hopeful when the road is dark. And the world will constantly try to strip that faith from you. With disappointment, with criticism, with setbacks, with fear. Protect, feed it, strengthen it, return to what grounds you, because the battlefield is in your mind. Ride that again. The battlefield is in your mind. Before you lose in life, you lose mentally. Before people quit externally, they quit internally. Before people collapse publicly, they collapse privately in thought. Everything starts in the mind. That is where temptation begins. That is where fear begins. That is where doubt begins. That is where defeat begins. And if you lose there, you lose everywhere. Lose the battle in your mind and your hands stop building. Lose the battle in your mind and your feet stop moving. Lose the battle in your mind and your dreams start dying long before reality ever attacks them. That is why mental protection is spiritual warfare, emotional warfare, personal warfare. This is not small. This is not casual. This is not optional. Your future depends on the condition of your mind. So become disciplined. Audit your environment. Audit your relationships. Audit your habits. Audit your inputs. Ask yourself, who is feeding my fear? What is draining my peace? What is poisoning my focus? What keeps weakening my faith? Then remove what must be removed. Limit what must be limited. Distant what must be distanced. Protect what must be protected. Because your life will rise or fall with the state of your mind. Guard it fiercely. Train it daily. Protect it relentlessly. Because if you win in your mind, you give yourself a chance to win anywhere. But if you lose there, you lose everywhere.